Hello, this is Business Now, reaching you live from iBrandTV News Studio in Lagos, Nigeria. Coming up, Senate polls Bureau of Public Enterprise for allegedly failing to remit $679.4 million. Federal government reiterates its decision to ensure total removal of subsidy on petrol. Shell suspends exploration offshore South Africa after legal challenge. Global markets turned lower on Thursday over persistent inflationary pressure. Glad to have you join us on Business Now. Here are some stories we are tracking. I am Margaret Opera. We begin with business updates from the Senate and as Committee on Public Accounts probes Bureau of Public Enterprise for allegedly failing to remit $679.4 million. The Senate committee revealed the alleged fund was realized from the concession of various ports to 23 companies, the Nigerian Ports Authority, over a period of 10 years. The investigation is based on the Auditor General for the Federation's annual report on non-compliance, intended control weaknesses issued in ministries, departments and agencies of the federal government of Nigeria for the year ended 31st December 2019. The query by the office against the PPE shows that 23 companies were granted concession at various ports under the MPA for 10 years and above, with an annual rent of $679.4 million payable to the MPA as of December 31 of every year. However, the office said an audit showed that there was no evidence that $679 million was collected as an rent due and remitted to the Consolidated Revenue Fund. First Bank of Nigeria Limited has announced the appointment of 3 additional executive directors by the board. The company said in a statement on Wednesday that the appointment of directors was subject to the approval of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. According to the statement, which was signed by the company secretary FBN Holdings Sheye Kosoko, the directors Olusegun Alebiosu, Executive Director Risk Management and Executive Compliance Officer Oluwatosin Adewuyi, Executive Director Corporate Banking Inyebonk, Executive Director Treasury and International Banking. The federal government has reiterated its decision to ensure the total removal of subsidy on premium motor spirit, commonly known as petrol. This was disclosed on Wednesday by the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, during a media briefing at the public presentation of the 2022 budget in Abuja. According to Ahmed, the federal government was set to comply with the provisions of the Petroleum Industry Act 2021 to fully deregulate prices of petroleum products. The minister also noted that a panel chaired by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo would meet with the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) and other stakeholders in order to discuss ways of cushioning the effects of the subsidy removal on Nigerians. Until the CBN changed from a restrictive policy to operating an open policy in the foreign exchange rates, the country will continue to experience instability and irregularities in the FX market. This is according to APT Securities Chief Executive Officer Garba Kofi, while reacting to CBN ban on the sales of forex suitabilities and some items. Kofi was speaking on our flagship business program earlier in the day.
As far as the foreign exchange is concerned in the Nigerian economy, we are applying restrictive policy. When you are applying restrictive policy, you have to bring all the argument, and that is what he's doing. The easiest way, allowed open policy. When you allowed open policy, we will not have two exchange rate. We'll have a single exchange rate. And that is what most of the economy that grow faster than us, they allowed open policy. Go to Egypt. Everybody know that the economy of Egypt is moving faster because they allowed an open policy. And if you go to Dubai Emirates, they allowed an open policy. When you allowed open policy, you see that the exchange rate will be once. And it will be once for all. But as long as we apply restrictive policy, then we have to bring all argument and counter argument to justify our action. And that is what CBN is doing.
The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Dr. Zainab Ahmed, on Wednesday painted a gloomy picture of how insecurity, low earnings, and inability to meet the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries (OPEC) quota for oil production drove excessive borrowings by the federal government. The minister who unfolded these disturbing scenarios at the public presentation of the 2022 FG budget proposal breakdown and highlight in Abuja yesterday. However, insisted that Nigeria's debt service revenue ratio, which stands at 76% as at November 2021, though higher than that of some African top economies, proved that the challenge that confronts Nigeria is not that of debt sustainability but that of revenue. Consumers of carbonated drinks are also expected to pay more as the federal government is set to introduce new and further increases in existing pro-health taxes on such drinks. Similarly, the federal government has disclosed that it would be charging 6% tax on turnover on e-commerce businesses provided by non-resident companies in Nigeria. This was disclosed by the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, during the public presentation and breakdown of the 2022 budget held in Abuja. The tax collection is in line with the provision of the 2021 Finance Act, which empowers the FIRS to assess CIT on the turnover of a foreign digital company involved in transmitting, emitting or receiving signals, sounds, messages, images or data of any kind, including e-commerce, app stores and online adverts. Still in government activities, the federal government plans to disburse 250 billion naira as loans to medium-scale, small and micro enterprise to boost job creation across the country. According to the National Development Plan 2021 to 2025, Volume 2, the federal government plans to increase loan disbursements to the MSMEs from 190 billion naira from 440 billion naira. The government said the proposed loans were a part of its employment and job creation plan, which, among other things, seeks to address the challenge of harnessing the potential of the youth demography into a productive force for growth and poverty reduction. According to the document, there are also plans to create 25 million jobs by 2025, according to the document. And in more stories, Chairman Xenox Group Leo Stan Eke has committed over 500 million naira towards a novel initiative to create jobs and promote peace in Imo State. Eke, a native of Mbitoli in Imo State, announced the contribution during the quarterly stakeholders meeting and launched and hosted by the Imo State government. The entrepreneur explained that the 500 million naira fund would be utilized in establishing a finishing school which would polish fresh graduates as well as the unemployed, equipping beneficiaries with world-class skills that would transform them into highly sought-after prospects that can compete with their peers globally. Wema Bank is to raise 40 billion naira from its shareholders as the company seeks funds from the capital markets, the board of directors revealed in a statement on Tuesday. The decision to raise capital was concluded upon during Wema Bank's 2021 Extraordinary General Meeting held on December 31, 2021, but disclosed to the public in the filing to the Nigerian Exchange Group. It was gathered that the 40 billion naira would be secured by way of rights issues to the existing shareholders, which will be issued 2 new shares for every 3 shares they hold in the reconstructed capital of the lender. Away from that, Green Sahara Farms has commenced planting of economic trees across 4 selected states. The farm under its Green Tree Thrift project had commenced provision of 300 nursery of cashew, avocado and gum Arabic trees to each household in the benefiting states, from which they can generate a minimum of 3 million naira yearly from the 3rd year of planting. The Chief Executive Officer of Green Sahara Farms, Suleiman Dikwa, during a chat with journalists in Abuja, mentioned that FAM had launched the project in 4 states, namely Yobe, Nasarawa, Plateau, and Katsina, where it had planted 250,000 trees. The FAM had secured a grant from Prince of Wales to plant 250,000 trees yearly in the 4 benefiting states. The Reforest Action Project has the goal to plant 10 billion trees in 10 years across the globe so as to create a green economy. The Danish carrier has been overtaken by Mediterranean Shipping Co. MSC in terms of capacity, according to data compiled by Alphalia. MSC's fleet can carry 4,284,728 standard 20-foot containers, which is 1,888 more than Maersk, giving both a market share of 17%. Maersk, which first entered container trade in 1975, has held the top spot for decades. The carrier has been a pioneer in the industry, often breaking records by building the biggest ships. More recently, it has invested in vessels that can sail on carbon-neutral methanol. It still has the most capacity in terms of owned vessels. MSC has about 65% of its capacity from chartered ships, whereas Maersk has only 42%. Still to come, global markets turned lower on Thursday. Details and more after the short break.
Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, professional dry cleaners, best in dry cleaning and laundry services, and meets the needs of our consumers. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah, for clean wash and quick delivery. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. For clean wash and quick delivery. Ooh.
Swift Dry Cleaners. Clean wash, quick delivery.
Powerful looks command respect, they say. The perfect body, the perfect grooming, and ultimately the perfect skin. Looks, style, and grooming makes the ultimate man. I've found a ridiculously easy way to make my skin always feel epic. My name is Neo. I found Blemiviv, and now my skin finally makes sense.
Glad to have you back. And now on the African scene, Shell has suspended seismic exploration activity off South Africa's east coast, terminating the contract for the Amazon Warrior surveil vessel after a high court ordered it to pause work after a legal challenge by environmental groups. Judge Gerard Bloem at the South African High Court in Makanda said Shell had failed to carry out required local consultations and there was concerns over the impact on marine life. In a December 28 ruling, Judge Bloem said Shell's right to explore waters near the Wild Coast was awarded on the basis of sustainability flawed consultation process. The Board of Directors of the African Development Bank Group has approved a $47.9 million grant for the first phase of Mozambique's Femba-Lechinga Integrated Development Corridor, a special agro-industrial processing zone. The grant from the African Development Fund will help improve agricultural productivity and agri-business development in the Niger province by advancing institutional capacity, skills, and entrepreneurship to spur agricultural value chain growth. The project also aligns with the African Development Bank's Country Strategy Paper 2018 to 2022 for Mozambique, with a focus on the northern provinces, and the bank's Feed Africa strategy for agricultural transformation. Another foreign scene, global markets turned lower on Thursday as persistent inflationary pressure and fears of a faster than expected rise in the U.S. interest rate weighed on riskier assets. Shares in Asia Pacific fell sharply on Thursday, following in the footsteps of the U.S. overnight. The tech-heavy Nasdaq dropped more than 3% to notch its biggest one-day loss since February, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average registered its first decline of 2022. European stocks, meanwhile, slipped on Thursday to extend the global slump. The pan-European stock 600 dropped around 1% during the mid-morning deals with the major bourses and almost all sectors in negative territory. Tech stocks led the losses, down around 2.4%, with German software company Domestic. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency fell sharply on Thursday as hawkish minutes from the Federal Reserve's December meeting hit global risk assets. Bitcoin was trading as just below $43,200 at about 2:59 a.m. ET on Thursday down nearly 7% from the 24 hours previous, according to CoinDesk data. It fell as low as $42,503.88 in the last 24 hours, the lowest level in more than a month. Ether dropped nearly 10% to $3,452.58. Taiwan has said it will set up $200 million fund to invest in Lithuania as it tries to fend off Chinese diplomatic trade pressure on the Baltic state. Taipei said it aims to make its first investment later this year, and the money is guaranteed by its National Development Fund and Central Bank. Now, this comes after Lithuania allowed Taiwan to open a de facto embassy there, a potential sign of growing ties. China downgraded its diplomatic relations with Lithuania days later. Coming up next is entertainment business.
Hello and welcome to Entertainment Business News. I am Chioma Amaribulam. The Tokyo-listed video games company could invest up to $500 million in the artist-led indie banner to more aggressively create and own movies, TV series, digital media, and gaming experiences for world markets. AGBO, the artist-led independent banner led by Avengers Endgame directors Anthony and Joe Russo, has received a $400 million minority investment from Nexon Corporations, the Japanese video game maker. The deal, which values AGBO at $1.1 billion as Nexon takes a 38% stake, will accelerate the global expansion of Nexon's existing and new franchise intellectual property into film and TV, and fuel AGBO as it develops, produces, and owns tentpole-led entertainment universes, reaching global audiences via games and virtual world experiences. Moving on, the Indian over-the-top streaming industry is expected to grow to $13 to $15 billion over the next decade at a compound annual growth rate of 22 to 25%, according to a joint report on media and entertainment. Over-the-top industry is constantly growing and is one of the most competitive amongst emerging markets, with over 40 players representing all types of content providers, said the report from industry body CII and Boston Consulting Group BCG. This has been led by strong tailwinds from basic enablers being in place for digital video streaming, such as affordable high-speed mobile internet, doubling of internet users in the last 6 years, and increased adoption of digital payments. Moreover, it has also been helped by India-specific price points offered by global players such as Netflix, Prime Video, and Disney Plus, offering plans in India at 70 to 90% cheaper rates than US. Moving on, AMC Networks, the company behind The Walking Dead, along with other networks and niche streaming services, has acquired hosting-based anime distributor and streamer Sentai Holdings. The company, led by interim CEO Matt Blank, unveiled this news after the market closed on Wednesday, but didn't disclose financial terms. The deal includes the holdings in Sentai of Cool Japan Fund, a Japanese public-private investment fund. Sentai is a global supplier of anime content and merchandise. AMC Networks has said it was targeting to end 2021 with more than 9 million streaming subscribers and reach 20 million to 25 million streaming subscribers by 2015. Management has said that over time frame, streaming would also become the company's largest revenue segment. And that's it on Entertainment Business. I am Chioma Amaribulam.
Coming up next is Sports Business News.
On Sports Business at this hour, Mojo Vision has disclosed its new partnerships with connected fitness and sports wearable companies, along with $45 million in additional funding, will accelerate the development of smart contact lens-based products that provide frictionless, real-time information on athletic performance. The new investment brings the total raised by Mojo Vision to $205 million and will help the company target a booming market for sports applications and devices while addressing several perceived issues with existing products. Its research claims that although 74% of athletes now rely on technology to analyze their workouts or training, devices such as smartwatches and fitness trackers can interfere with their performance and do not offer enough real-time data. And still talking sports business, Italian Serie A club Salernitana have avoided automatic relegation from the league after agreeing a last-ditch takeover deal worth €10 million with Italian businessman Danilo Levolino. In 2021, the club won promotion from Serie B for the first time in 20 years. However, former owner Claudio Lotito, who is also the president of Lazio, was forced to put Salernitana up for sale as Serie A prohibits individuals from controlling more than one club in the league. Levolino acquired the club for €10 million and will invest a further €20 million to meet Salernitana's current financial commitments. The Neapolitan businessman who founded Pegaso University in 2006 paid a deposit of €500,000 ahead of the takeover. The small fee has received heavy criticism from Lotito, who was reportedly holding out for a figure of €70 million. Since purchasing Salernitana in 2011 when bankruptcy caused the team to fall to Italy's fourth tier, Lotito has reportedly invested around €42 million into the club. And that's it on Sports Business. I'm Samson Olede.
And that's a wrap on Business Now. For more news updates, please visit our website and follow all our social media platforms. Do well to always tune into StarTime channel 143 for more news updates. My name is Margaret Obara. Thanks for watching.